Greetings again, friends. Well, today I have been thinking about why God allows the things that He does. You know, you have the floods that cause problems, like in Pakistan. You could go and look at that flood of influence video that I did. I just wonder sometimes, and I know you do too, as to why God allows things to happen the way they do. Why do the hurricanes happen the way they do, or tornadoes, or things that cause problems? Why is there death? How many people are upset with God because He allowed someone to die close to them, and sometimes at a time that wasn't expected? There's lots of times where we get upset at God because we don't like the way He allowed something to happen, or maybe even how He calls something to happen. We think we know better with our limited perspective. Well, friends, I was thinking about this many years ago, and I was contemplating why God was allowing what He was allowing in my life. I went through lots of trials and things that would trouble and upset many people and sometimes derail your faith. And it was because of my faith that I made it through, because my faith in Jesus allowed me to make it through all of the pressures and things that were happening and things that shouldn't have happened if people had stepped up. Now, again, you can look at the book that I wrote, because in the book it details the story and the lessons that we need to learn, hence this Lessons to Learn Ministries channel. But one of the things that God does when pressures come on someone who has faith is He pushes out things in them, like many of the hymns that are just tremendous, deep hymns to meditate on and think on the truth that's in those hymns. And I was thinking about this even recently and some of the stories behind the hymns. But what God did in me was to produce poetry, which I had not really done a lot of. And one of the poems that I have not yet read or talked about here. Now, you can go and look at the playlist on poems and see the others, but this is one called If I Were the Lord. Now, this poem addresses this question of God allowing what He does and why He would allow the things He does, or just how you could do better. So hang on and listen to this as I contemplated this and think about the words to this poem. If I were the Lord, would I change this whole earth? Would I fill people's hearts with fun loving and mirth? Would I grant every wish? Only give what is best. Would I let people choose? Put their lives to the test. If I were the Lord, would I make wars to cease? Would I use my creation to bring about peace? Would I rule with strict justice, give each person his due? Would I bring grace to all, or only favor a few? If I were the Lord, would I glorify man? Would I let him decide and devise his own plan? Would I place in him drives to do just as he'd please? Would I defer to man's will, or bring each to his knees? If I were the Lord who is separate from sin, I would do as He did and give choices to men. I would love my creation, only do what is best. I would sacrifice self to keep harmony and rest. The great creator of all did just this through the Son. He created free will, knowing his work was not done. He knew man would rebel, choose to go his own way, yet he had already planned for sin's price. He would pay. Jesus Christ became man and a servant of men. He gave up his position to free creation from sin. He healed broken lives, cured diseases, gave men sight. He dispelled all the darkness as true love and pure light. Jesus gave his life's blood, offering salvation to all who trust him as their Savior and not man who did fall. Jesus conquered death's power and will soon end man's strife. He is coming again as the way, truth, and life. If you think you'd do better, then what plan would you make? How might you rule creation, considering all that's at stake? Try your way, do your best, persuade others, teach them how. But know this, my dear friend, that to Jesus all will bow. For my Lord, written June 2009, as I hope in Jesus Christ and not mortal man. And again, that was during a lot of the pressures and tragedy that was happening in my life that God produced this. And I considered those things, that some people have in their life with fun loving and mirth, as I mentioned, and some are just like everything's a game. Go back and look at the playing games video I recently did. And, people just do these have different personalities and things about life. And I tried to put all that into this poem. So I trust that it was a challenge to your thinking and a blessing to you to trust God, because what he did is the best way to get to the best world that gives mankind freedom and will help us to still come to see him with a choice of faith to believe in him and have eternity with him. You can see how some of this is understood more in a biblical framework if you go and look at, like when I talked about from Revelation 4 and 5, referencing the philosophy of God. And God certainly does have his will and his perfect will in mind in all that happens. So friends, may you think about this when you question God. If I were the Lord, how would I have done different, and why did he not? And maybe that'll help you reflect and have perspective as you should. So I trust that this poem encouraged you and challenged you. Like this video, share it with others, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll be ready for the next video. Thank you for watching.